exploits and breaches, locks and hacks. Rachel and Will got your back. Cyber threats and password fails, still break it down with real details. Step into the convo, pull up a chair. Ideas are brewing, wisdom in the air. From vendors to zero trust, they're keeping it real and keeping it just. One sips coffee, the other abstains, but both drop knowledge straight to your brain. Talking tech with a human touch, add some laughs, so we've got that much. Grab a cup and circle up our tea talk that won't corrupt. Firewalls up, stay alert, let's keep the hackers eating dirt.
You guys, I got a theme song. Oh my gosh, it's so corny and great. I love it. Special thanks to my husband. That was a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy that forever. It's so corny and great. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Table Talks. Today we have Rich Malewicz. Yes, I nailed it. Joining us from Wizer Free Training, Security Awareness Training. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Will McCullen, the program manager for the IT Center of Excellence at Pima Community College in Tucson, Arizona. And if you're new here, that was interesting. Thanks, John Martin. The power of AI compels you. I'll tell you all about how I created that. It's so fun. And for the low price of a $15 a month subscription that you can cancel after your free trial, you can also make fun, stupid songs.
No, it sounded like something off of one of those late night shows, at the very beginning. So I liked it. Well done.
Okay, so hang on. I got to do my introduction first. I'm Rachel Arnold, the Human API with SecureNation. Hi. Okay, now back to the AI part. So we prompted, so you go into ChatGPT and you say, write me a song prompt. Okay. Then you take that song after you've tweaked it and messed around with it, and then you put it into one of the song creation AIs, and you can prompt that AI to give you the vibe of your song. And we prompted it with make it Golden Girls, but Three's Company. So that's what we got. It's a lot of fun. I like it. It's so corny. It's just corny. Good morning, Pat Patrick. We see you. And Steve, good morning. Thank you, Will, for testing out the YouTube. You're great. As always, Meg Jett is in the background moderating the chat. So if you have any questions while we converse today or anything fun and relevant to the conversation as it unfolds, Meg will be popping those things up at the bottom. They'll show up down here. Please understand that this lives in forever on the internet. So don't embarrass your family or friends whenever you're chatting via LinkedIn, Twitch, or YouTube, because that's where those comments are going to come from.
I take it something happened before?
It's those things where do I tell my children don't play in traffic because they've already been hit? No. I tell them don't play in traffic because it's a fair warning and could be a possibility, and maybe that warning will help them. It's like that. Sense. Yeah, we've got a pretty good audience actually for the Coffee Table Talks. We've been doing this for 4 years now.
Seriously?
Yeah. I was wondering when you were going to invite me. So thank you.
You're welcome. We've had Gabby on before, and now it's your turn. So if you guys aren't familiar with Gabriel Friedlander, he is the CEO and founder of Wizer Training, and we have had him on as a previous guest. You can find that conversation somewhere on our YouTube. And today we have with us his right-hand dude, Rich, which I'm very excited about. Rich was telling us some stories in the pre-show that I hope we can share again, especially as we get into some, career journey pathing type questions. So let's get to that part. So Rich, what is it that you do for Wizer? Let's start there.
So I was with Wizer before it was Wizer, right? So I know Gabby So Gabby's name's going to come up a lot because he's had such an impact on my career. So when I was a CIO, CISO in the U.S. government, Livingston County, Michigan, I had an issue. And I ran into Gabby at a Gartner conference. After Gartner said, hey, why don't you come to our summit, walk around, talk to some of the vendors. And I saw Gabby's product, Observe It. And I was like, oh my God, I'm amazed. I need this right now. I have an insider threat problem. So we got him involved. He came, saved the day, because without that evidence and that technology, I would have never lasted at the county. It was just too big of a beast I was dealing with. So
Observe It got bought up by somebody, and
it did. So it got bought out by Proofpoint.
That's it.
Yep. And that's kind of how Wizer started. So Gabby's at home. He just Observe It's been acquired. He's at home, and I could just see it now. He's at his espresso machine. He likes coffee, right? He's probably there. He's asking his kids, hey, ask him about school, their passwords. And he finds out that the school gives them a password. It's very simple, not complex. And they use that password on everything of theirs. So he's like, wait a minute, what is going on here? He starts asking more questions, and he realizes, I spent 12 years in an insider threat company, the world's leading insider threat company. And this whole time, I had insider threats at my home living with me.
Yeah.
Oh, where have I been, right? So him and his son, they build a video and they put it on YouTube. They're going to help. If you know Gabby, he's always about social responsibility. He goes to schools all the time. He talks to the kids. So they put a video out there, and the video goes viral. So they build a few more, and then they make the free. And then he realizes, hey, I got something here. And he kicked off Wizer. And now I hear we're one of the fastest growing. We got over 20,000 companies using us in just 5 years. We were profitable the first year. I mean, we're we're doing things that nobody else is doing in security awareness. And I know every vendor says that, but we really are. That's how I met Gabby. There was a story that I was telling you about when I was at the county, how you kind of saved the day with Observe It, but we can get into that later on as well.
So what did Observe? So why were you looking for Observe IT or something like it? And what was going on in your current environment and your the company you were with at the time?
Yeah, so it was with the county. So I took over as CIO in 2013.
Okay.
And that very first day, my boss came to me during lunch and said, "You're not going to quit, are you?" Right. So that was an indicator of like, okay, wait, what did I get myself into? Why would I want
to? Red flag.
Yeah, a lot of things were happening. A lot of things weren't adding up. Work wasn't getting done. Half the computers didn't have antivirus on it. I could go on and on. This is probably one of the worst teams that I have ever dealt with. We won't get too far into that. Now, I did get rid of them, right? With Observe It, I was able to get rid of them righteously. But what happened was one day, payroll and treasury said, hey, something's going on with our computer. Somebody's messed with it. So we look into it. I look into it, and I realize from the logs, one of my IT guys is on the computer at 3 a.m. Well, he doesn't work at 3 a.m. What is he doing on the treasury and the payroll computer, right? Yeah. So we got to Observe It out there. And Observe It is pretty cool because it kind of creates a video of everything. So it's really great evidence. It's immutable. You can see everything. There's rules you can set up. So we start realizing that there's a lot more going. Now, make a long story short, what we find out is that they bought a server with government funds for a big piracy type of operation where there's like hundreds of movies and videos that they're stealing, right? Now, that may not sound bad if you come from the days of Napster and things like that, but in the government, that's bad. That's $250,000 fine for each video. So we had to call the FBI in on that.
Yeah, well, they're putting stolen content, pirated movies on government property. So that's, I can understand why they would be not okay with that.
Yeah, but when you download that piracy stuff, so you download a movie, guess what else you download with it? Malware.
All the fun creepy crawlies that come with it. Yeah.
Yes. And now you're putting us at risk. So we figured that out, and it was interesting. I called the next county over, Oakland County, probably the most advanced county in the U.S. Pretty close, and they sent a contingent of people out. And I got rid of my IT team, and they sent a contingent of people out to help with operations. But The next day, they were watching my email at the time. So they're going through all the emails. They're unauthorized access, which is against the law as well. I did prosecute one person for that. The others, it was kind of swept under the rug. But what we found the next day is the servers disappeared. They're gone.
You mean
completely gone?
Gone? Like they loaded them up in the back of the car and took them?
Yeah. The servers that had that information on. I mean, the SAN's there and everything else and the backup, it's all there in the dedupe system. But I'm like, no problem. I got cameras everywhere. My camera system is completely wiped out.
Yeah.
No data, no nothing. I don't know what happened. The dedupe system. I'm like, okay, well, I got some data in the dedupe system. So I see the security manager that I'm supposed to trust. He's on the dedupe, trying to delete the dedupe, trying to delete Observe It out there. And he couldn't do it. And that's what really got us there. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? But there's password harvesting and things like that. But, the lesson learned here is we started a security awareness program before that, or it was very informal. And it shows the advantages of having a security awareness program, making people aware of the insider threat. If the Treasury and payroll didn't mention anything, this would have never happened possibly. It may have happened later on in a different way. So you've got to put that out there. It's not just about phishing emails coming in. It's also about the insider threat. You look at a lot of compliances like IRS, I think it's 1075. They say do security awareness training, like annual training like everybody else, but also do insider threat training too. CMMC for the DIBs, the Defense Industrial Base. You go to that third level, I think it is, you've got to do insider threat training. So it is so important. We may have accomplished this a little bit earlier if we had a better program in place, but that really kickstarted the insider threat program.
Wow.
So,
that is quite a story.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, you can Google it. There's a lot of information out there on it. I was looking at it at ChatGPT and it just went on forever, because there's so many good lessons learned there, the importance of insider threat and security awareness. So,
yeah. Well, the thing that sets Wizer apart from so many others is that they actually use humor, right? And all you have to do is hit Wizer security in the YouTube. You get it. I mean, let's face it, folks in the audience, how many folks have been through that training that is just incredibly boring? Yeah. Oh, hey, Johnny, do you use strong passwords?
Yeah, the kind that makes me want to rip my eyeballs out. And I'm like, no. Or the stuff that like you click through and you're like, I hate it whenever they set up the rules where you can't tab out, right, and just let it run over here and do something else, and they're like, no, it's gonna automatically pause. I'm like, I hate you so much, I don't want to watch this.
Well, it almost becomes like an HR punishment, right? It's like, flag on the play, 3 hours training, right?
Right? Like, dang it.
That's traditional security awareness training. And there, it just baffles my mind that there's so many companies still doing that. It's about check the box, or, hey, I'm in the magic quadrant up here. You buy me because of that. Don't care about the training, but so we do things different. So all of our training is like a minute long. So various types, there's some humor.
Very true. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, that is a valid point.
Yeah. There's with the training, it's all a minute and a half. We tie it to home. So that's where we really, we figured it out, make the training, make there something for them at home and for their families. So, cause you're attacked at home and work the same way. I can't remember how many times we had close calls in the county because somebody else at home went on OWA and got key logged and then something else happened. But you've got to tie it to home and you got to make it shareable. So we allow all of our content to be shared with family and friends. We're changing the culture, and it's winning, because when you're done with a course, you get to rate Wizer out of 5 stars and leave a message. And every company is like, thank you for letting me share this. And thank you for getting straight to the point. I enjoyed this. So we kind of make the whole format like Duolingo. Do a video, maybe do another one, come back tomorrow and do some other videos. Or tonight on your phone, on a mobile phone, do the videos, share them, leave us feedback. So that's kind of made us very unique, is that content. Because you look at any human learning model, like VARC, visual, audio, kinesthetic, reading and writing, There's many different ones, but visual piece is the most important piece. 65% of humans were visual beings. We learn that way. So let's make that visual piece very appealing so they can learn. And that's what we do best.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel, there's some security awareness platforms out there where it feels very gimmicky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that it doesn't feel gimmicky. That, and it also, it's content that a wide variety of humans find relatable, at least in my personal experience. So like, okay, so for instance, okay, not just in like my work, right? Because SecureNation and Wizer are partners, right? We can help you find the right solution, and Rich can help design it for you and work through implementation and all that stuff. We do that. But the thing that makes me passionate about Wizer is that I can easily share the videos and find them and look them up and share them with my family. And I've got, a group of elderly parents, right? My dad's 80 and he understands it. And then my kids at the same time, who are 7, 8, and 10, can also understand it. And it takes over that piece for me. And then it also gives us talking points afterwards that we can circle back on, or, just, it gives us, it's like a lesson plan. We're teaching just people that aren't part of a corporation or use computers every day in their daily life or anything else. It gives me something to share with them too, which is, I really enjoy that piece of it. And then, just even what's available, the content that's available that's free is something that is really appropriate for K through 12, public security stuff. In my opinion, okay, this is going to sound real salesy, you guys. In my opinion, just Rachel, everybody who has customers that are varying in skill set should have a link somewhere on their website to Wizer security awareness training. I'm talking about, I worked in the gaming industry for a little while. Every customer of that gaming industry should have had access to this.
Yeah.
I've worked with K through 12 universities with their security awareness programs. Every student should have access to this or be shown that it is a resource. This should be a link somewhere on your resources page for anything that's public facing. Just saying.
We're getting there. I mean, we're approaching taking the top position here, hopefully in a few years. So,
it's
in time.
It's literally free for you to share it. It's free.
Yeah.
Free is in the name. It's on the name. Now there are some, if you need to integrate it into a program where you want metrics and stuff like that, there is a paid subscription piece of it, and it's super affordable. If you need that, bam, we can help you out with that too. But the free piece is just the part that just blows my mind, that not everybody everywhere just puts that down as a resource on their website, on their, shares it at parent teacher conferences, like whatever, just everywhere it should be. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. That's my Rachel overexcited face. That was,
we appreciate that.
Well, it's also one of the few ones that you actually see coming up on social media at times, shared with folks because it's funny, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole idea with social media was, put that content out there and kind of, before we release it on our platform, we'll put it on social media and get feedback. What is all the experts on LinkedIn, what do they think about it? So it's kind of like not crowdsourced, but, crowd approved in a way.
Right.
So that's helped us out a lot. And we get a lot of great ideas from, the experts out there too. Hey, why don't you do something with this or that? So, yeah.
I like that. I like it whenever a company collaborates with its general public and populace to get feedback on stuff. That's amazing. Do you guys have a TikTok account yet?
I think we do. I think we're, yes, I think we're kind of everywhere. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you what was one of your favorite while working for Wizer. What was one of the favorite moments that you helped a customer? Like, I love those kind of stories.
Helping the customers all the time. That's a tough one. I think it's educating. A lot of people don't understand why they need to do the training, or even, what compliances they need to be, compliant with, what regulations. And I think it helps them a lot to educate them. I mean, it's all about education. It's every day talking to customers and helping them out. It is a great feeling. So.
Yeah, but that also is such a hard challenge for you guys, because having to go through a whole bunch of training is never the most fun, because you've got a whole bunch of stuff backed up that you have to do, yada yada yada. So whenever you can get it to where it's actually interesting to hang out, because boy, we've been through a lot of clunkers. Right.
Yeah. Will, that's a great point. So traditional training is long, boring, and studies show you go over 2 minutes per video, they're done watching it, because you got to look at what people do in their personal lives, right? So we keep it under 2 minutes, and the ratings we get, 20,000 plus companies, we're at a 4.76, 4.8 rating. It's always on. You can't turn this thing off, and you get to see the all the comments. And I love it when we replace certain companies. They're like, thank you. I've learned so much from this. This didn't take a bunch of time. You didn't try to tap dance and, use, little Muppets to teach me something and something corny. This was great. I shared it with my mom and dad. And we got these real life stories too, where we tell a story dramatized about someone being hacked at home or work. And we keep it very relevant to what's going on. Like tax season, we did one. During the elections, we did one. And they like these stories. Humans love stories. They're 22 times more memorable than facts alone. So we throw that in. We throw in some of the animation. We have a phishing game as well, that we can do things you can't do on a phishing simulation, or you shouldn't do on a phishing simulation.
Wait a minute, you have a phishing game? I didn't know that. Hold on a second. Back up. Tell me about the phishing game.
Yeah, so the phishing exercise. So you use it with the phishing simulation. So the phishing simulation, you're sending emails out. You're keeping people on guard with that, right? Most people don't open up those phishing simulation emails. You got a 30% open on average. So you've got to get those emails or something like that in front of them without insulting them or shaming them or making them feel tricked, right? So we have a phishing game, phishing exercise that gives you 10 random emails up front. So an email pops up, and it's from PayPal. And so you have to decide, what would you do if you got this email? You have a PayPal account, you got this PayPal email, and it says something about money or something like that. And you see the domain says PayPal, right? So, hey, I must have a good domain there. You look at the links look good. What would you do? Would you say this is legitimate? Would you say it's phishing? Would you go to the app, or would you call the person, right? Could be multiple right answers, but we're trying to get them into the habit of thinking about this. There's multiple things you can do, but you should really verify before you trust, right? Because you can spoof. Hard to spoof a bunch. You can't spoof PayPal in a phishing simulation. You can't do lookalike domains. I mean, you can't do gift card attacks in a phishing simulation. Phishing simulations need links. And what if I send you an email that has no link or attachment? I just want you to change my account number. Rachel, you're in HR, you're in payroll. So we're trying to go through those items of things you can't do in a phishing simulation all at once. So you can, you get a score at the end, you don't feel tricked, and it's randomized.
Is that make them compliant for phishing all their employees for that piece? Because I know there are some compliance pieces where you have to do those exercises.
I don't know of any regulations that say you have to do phishing simulations. I know insurance companies say, hey, we want you to do phishing simulations quarterly. But when you look at ISO 27001, it doesn't say phishing simulations. You could use that as part of your program, but what they really want is, that training piece, the phishing training, they call it. So you're going through passwords, you're going through malware and things like that. That's what makes you compliant. This is more, I look at the kinesthetic approach to learning. You're putting things into action.
Right.
I don't know if it would make you compliant. I guess the insurance company could look at it and say, yeah, we want all of our clients to do that. So
let's talk about a security awareness program, like a total program. Okay. Because I've got some experience with this, especially when I'm asked to help out, different teams that I've helped out before. I did a lot of this kind of work with Activision Blizzard King when I was there as well. So you walk into a place and you go, what does your current day security awareness program look like now? And then they say, oh, we have one. I say, great. And then they say, we do phishing.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they're like, also, we have a report a phish button.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's the program. And I'm like, okay. So that's a piece of a program. I'm so glad that you have ostensibly pissed off everybody that ever accidentally clicked your phish bait. And then even some of them don't even assign training after they click, right? But still, you have made them all very upset. Now they hate the security department because the security department makes them do things and tricks them.
Yeah.
They tricksy, right? We don't like them. Ew. Which is terrible for building your overall security culture. Imagine having a security awareness program like what Rich is describing, where people can opt into, well, not really, right? Because you want them to take it, but they know what's coming. They don't feel tricked and they still get the education piece. And what happens if you gamify it, right? Can you track their responses and see who passed like 100% or whatever percent? What if you gamified it on top of that? And you're like, if you take this training and you pass it with whatever you want to, whatever arbitrary percentage you want to set that at, you're like, you get, I don't know what kind of prize, whatever prize, insert prize here. Somebody more creative than me suggest a prize, but or if it's something that they have to do more than annually, and it's a regular basis thing. What if it's like you took like a punch card that you get at a restaurant, right? For showing up so many, like a loyalty card, right? Where they punch the holes in it. And then by the 10th one, you get a free sub or whatever the hell it is. What if you did that for 10 trainings, right? On the 10th training, you get company swag or, a gift certificate or whatever you want to do. Insert prize here.
I've got to inject because
sorry, I get very excited.
Our students at the range, you've been to the range, Rachel.
Yeah.
They love when those campaigns come through because then the poor IT department, when they report the emails, they come back with BGP paths. They come back with whole domain lookups. They come back with DMARC information. They come back just
yeah. It's a lot. And then
Anyhow.
to run a phishing campaign, like let's talk about how many resources you're using as far as people hours to manage that campaign. I'm sorry. I know I said, look, a whole security awareness program isn't just about phishing, and now I'm like hyper focused on phishing. Sorry. But like, y'all know that my husband, if y'all don't know, is Josh. He is he's the big guy. He's the big guy in a sock. Okay. He works. I always forget what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, but so we're just going to say that he's like a principal lead SOC analyst since Jesus, right? Like he's been there forever. So anyway, he always gets a little upset for the help desk because he's got a lot of friends at the help desk that he really enjoys working with. But see, the nature of a phishing campaign, if you haven't run one or haven't participated in one, setting one up before, what's going to happen is if your company is set up this way, they're going to report a phish, right? Or they're going to start sending so much communication to IT help desk all of a sudden about all this stuff. But you're not to run a good phishing campaign. You can't alert anyone. You want to keep that crowd as small as possible of all the people that know it's going to be a phishing campaign, right? Because you want the test to actually test. You don't want people to be looking out for it, or that's the old way of thinking. You don't want people to be flagged that there's going to be a thing, right? Because now on top of that, what happens then? everybody starts reporting every email as a fish, right? They're like, nope, no, I don't trust that. Fish, fish, right? Well, those turn into tickets that somebody has to go look at. And then suddenly their backlog is logged. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to get through all of that and to validate and make sure it's not false positives and all this other stuff.
Well, plus back when it comes into the same thing that we were talking about, that if you do click the link or whatever, then it goes to mandatory training, right? It goes back to that HR flag on the play, 3 hours mandatory training, right?
Right.
So, Rich, how do you guys make yours? Because I know you've heard all this ad nauseum before. How do you guys battle that to make it something a more pleasurable, more interesting experience?
Yeah, there's so many things I want to talk about right now. So, going back, you talked about you go in an organization. Hey, we do phishing. And a lot of that is because a long time ago, I won't mention the name of the companies, that there's some of them are still out there. They only provide phishing simulations.
Right. That's it.
And they've been taught that's all you need to do. Don't do training, save your money, don't do it. If they fail, give them some training. It doesn't make you compliant, right? And you shouldn't just check the box for compliancy, but we need to do awareness. It doesn't matter what regulation, everyone needs to do the full awareness, not just phishing simulations. But there's some companies, they're in the business of doing phishing simulations only, so they're going to feed you that. So the first thing I always ask is, why are you doing security awareness, right? What's driving it? First question. Is it compliance? Are you trying to be proactive? Is it insurance attestations, things like that? But we do things a little bit different. So there is a way that you can do phishing simulations. I'm going to bring it in. Nobody knows. I'm going to create this baseline. And then I'm going to do training and try it again and see if it improves, right? And then you kind of piss people off. There's mental health implications, there's productivity, things like that. So what we say is, make it positive. This isn't just for the organization. This is for home as well. And the very first phishing we're going to do is, and we believe in reporting culture, right? You've heard about think before you click, right? Yeah. Think before you click. Well, we say think after you click. You're going to click no matter what. Somebody's going to. I don't care what technology, what training you do. Let's get them in the habit of what do they do after they click. They need to report without worrying about repercussions. You need time to remediate, right?
Yeah.
So we get into that. And the very first thing we do is we let everyone know we're doing a phishing test tomorrow. It's going to look like this. We want everybody to fail it. And failing it is, you're going to click that phishing button because the phishing button's new. So you want 100% of the people who find this phishing simulation email for Outlook or Gmail, click that button. Now they know how to report. You can send emails out. Hey, here's how we report. How many people are going to read that email and remember it? Not many. But if we can get them going through the steps of reporting, and then after that, we can do the phishing simulation. You only surprise them once in the very beginning with that baseline. You piss them off once, and now they know it's out there forever. So there's only one surprise. Let's just work together as a team and make it positive. Now, we do have something called Wizer Managed, and we do gamify phishing simulations as well. The first person to find that phishing simulation email, they get a prize. They get some things like that. So we're looking at gamifying phishing simulations to make it a little bit more fun and not as like it's been in the past. Now, experts at Forrester, like Janine Budge, she says, don't punish your employees when they fail phishing simulations. She said that a few years ago. Don't give them extra training. If your culture supports it, it's what you've been doing, I guess you're going to do it, but it's probably not a good thing to do. We got to think about, mental health. I know some people may laugh at me for that, but, some people do get upset. Why did Rachel give me this particular phishing email and Will got the other one? He got the easy one. No wonder he didn't fail and I failed, right? So there's a lot of things that are at play psychologically out there. So, but back to your question, Will. So I think I answered your question, right? I went off on some tangents there.
Yeah, it's and I like the direction that you're taking. That is make it a positive experience, because normally this has been a train wreck for so long because IT folks are like, okay, problem, how do you solve the problem and turn it into mechanical and then it goes straight to a business department. Oh, great, we need metrics, we can get metrics. Yeah. But what you leave out is the people side of things, right? Yeah. If you want to have a good business, you don't want to find the folks who can fool and whip them. You want to Find a way to encourage them. Find a way to make them feel part of the team. Right?
Yeah.
I love your students. Is this one of your students? Is Bogsy a student, Will?
I know where that's coming from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But Will, the caveat on that, if we can make this positive phishing simulations, we're going to see that report to button not abused anymore, right? They're not going to report everything. They know they're not going to get canned, or nothing bad's going to happen to them. They're going to join the fight, and they're going to become more motivated, in my opinion, our opinion.
I like it.
Definitely.
I like aggressive optimism, especially when it comes to making people feel, I don't know, encouraged, compelled to be savvy about, right? Because think about, between your mobile device, your work life, your kids on their freaking tablets, like we're all connected to the internet. We should know how to look both ways before crossing that street.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that that's that way. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If your cybersecurity awareness platform provider, sorry, they're getting grumbly back here. The daddy is out in the yard playing around without them. He's like mowed the grass already and doing a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, I love the aggressive optimism, though, that's applied to security awareness training and empowering people to feel confident about how they navigate their online and digital virtual spaces in a way that, I don't know of any other platform. This is the point I was getting to. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but and maybe there's something new that I don't know, and it's an opportunity for me to learn. But I'm not aware of any other security awareness platform provider that allows you to take the content from the platform and then share that with your family and friends. Like,
there's one. We started it. There is one copycat, but it's very limited, right? And they're tracking it. We're not tracking this. We're not going to spam them. We're not going to cut them off at a certain point. So no, we're pretty much very unique out there in that space. And speaking of uniqueness, we talked about, yeah.
You and I both know why they're tracking it. We know why. I know why. I know why they would track where their content goes and everything. It's because they're trying to sell more shit.
Yeah, we all got to be profitable, right? We all do.
I get that, but like, come on, not even a piece. You're not even going to allow a piece, and that's what I like about the stuff from Wizer is that I don't feel like my children's privacy is compromised whenever I get them to load that content onto their own device for them to view it, that's troublesome to me. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of go off on a tangent here. We talk about uniqueness and security awareness, and what we came up with recently last year is that we need to start, creating training for secure code training for developers, for developer training. So we became the first company to provide that type of training that is PCI DSS 4.0 compliant, where Section 6.2.2 says you must train in your language. So now you can go on there and do Java, you can do Python, JavaScript, what have you, to satisfy those PCI compliances or SOC 2 compliances if you want to take it that far. There is another company that started recently doing that, but they've partnered with somebody. Everything we have, we own, we make, we update. So that has been a huge hit out there. It's another offering we have, and it's really it's on fire. It really is because of all these compliances and regulations. Seeing the need that you need to get developers trained early on, not reactively but proactively. So check that out.
John Martin also had a good question back here. Does this tool allow for tracking and effectively? There it is. Thank you, Meg. Effectively targeting training for those who may have certain areas where we have identified gaps in understanding.
Yeah. So the way we work. So you take the training, you take a quiz, and you can fail that quiz. You can fail a question, and you can try again. Now we track the failure rates, and so you can determine which people are having problems with password management or this or that, and you can create very easily, so simple, customized training for them, or use one of our specialized training courses to send to those people. Additionally, there's role-based training, right? I've already talked about developer training, which is part of our development offering. But there's also, there's IT, there's wire fraud, there's CEO training. There's a lot, and you can import your own training into our system. You can take it apart, redo the quizzes, and build your own. I mean, it's amazing how quick you can do things. It's about simplicity.
Yeah,
and we win in that area as well.
Have you ever found yourself working with some customers that may have designs on taking this to the point of trying to target and take the hard approach and counsel them on, hey, these are people, look at it from a more positive spin? Have you found yourself in situations trying to help customers with understanding a different perspective on doing training?
Yeah, they just haven't heard that perspective. And I bring it up every time I talk to people. Now, some are kind of hardwired into what they're going to do. 3 strikes, you're out, you're fired. 1 strike, your picture goes up in a lunchroom for everyone to see. They call it the wall of shame. Now, you may say, oh my God, they may get sued. It's actually a lawyer's office that does it. So they've already thought through this. So, we are educating people out there on the positivity, and they're going to see it in those ratings. When they come back and rate Wizer, they're rating that program, not Wizer, and they're leaving comments. You're going to see that change a lot, and increase. So hopefully I answered your question, Will. I mean, that's, we're educating people every day on that. It's just it's a new approach. It's always been take 30 minutes of training, 45 minutes of training, because that's what everyone's done. Fish the hell out of your employees because that's what everyone's done. We're saying there's a different approach to reduce risk.
Yeah. If you don't understand that your security awareness training program is like the face of your cybersecurity team, you need to figure that out real quick. Okay. That is your internal public facing persona. However, the employees view your security awareness training program is how they're going to view you as a department, right? And if your security awareness training program is all about punishment and consequences and repercussions, they're going to associate you as their cybersecurity and IT department with those same negative feelings. And then you end up with so many fun things that you get to figure out, like shadow IT. Why didn't they submit a ticket to have that software reviewed before they just plugged it into their company device? It's because they don't want to talk to you. You're scary.
There's so much on
fired. Like,
there's so much on company culture, right? And so, Morgan, in your question, that's where if somebody continually fails, that then goes toward the company and toward the culture of the company. Which, Rich, what about some training for management on what Rachel just pointed out, on the whole thing of that? This is the face of your company. You might want to be aware of this. These are some really good strategies to take.
Hey, Rich, I think this is a talk that you and I should just put together and do a co-presentation on. You want to do that? We could do that. I don't mind. I will go wherever you want me to go and passionately, vehemently get up there and be like, stop making yourselves look bad.
Yeah. Well, we've got a whole course on executive training. So we thought about that. It's you're the first step in the culture, right? You need to set the example, and they're going to follow you. I tell a lot of companies, it's your first time doing security awareness. You can upload any video you want. Maybe a video of your CEO talking about, hey team, we're taking security awareness. We're not just doing it for the organization. We're doing it for your home as well. We want you to be safe there, and make it positive. Put that positive message out there. And you're going to see dividends returned. You really are.
Yeah. John Martin, by the way, I sent you a DM on LinkedIn. We can have Rich come to mine and yours next chat. So, by the way, for everybody that doesn't know, there are some people that I prefer to hang out with on a regular basis, and I call those cadence calls. We talked at some point during one of these sessions publicly about what the difference between a cadence call and a meeting was. Anyway, I have cadences with several different members of cybersecurity because I either enjoy their personality. I always learn something whenever I'm hanging out with them. So John Martin is one of those folks that I just have regular check-ins with because I like him as a human. But we can bring Rich to the next one if you want. Like
More
that
than
would,
happy.
yeah. And then you can
So-
have some one-on-one direct, ask him straight out.
So, Rich, I mean, you have a broad background there. I mean, you have elements from cybercom as well, right?
Yeah.
And this, if you could, with your passion, what are some major things that you would like to see change in the industry, and what do you think would be a really good way to maybe approach that? Because you're in an area where you're dealing with awareness, you're in an area where you're aware of things that are happening more toward a global scale. And so you're aware of what our adversaries do. How can we make a big difference along those lines?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. There's so many things to do, right? You know, I've been focusing for the last 5 years on security awareness and trying to make this company, you know, the best out there. I was telling you before we got on here, I'm forgetting some of the words to use that I used to use as a CISO. I've like lost my mind. So, you know, I don't think that security awareness has really. I think more people should embrace it. That's what I really think, because, like I said, no matter what technology you put in place, what processes, you've got to train the people. I think there needs to be more focus on the people in a positive way. And that's, I mean, you know, when you look at adversaries, you know, that's a tough one, right? So it's a whole holistic approach you need to take with your defense in depth, with training. You know, I would say the ISO 27001 is a good place to go to start. Now, if you're industrial controls, because I come from that background, the ICS SCADA, whether you're trying to follow the NERC SIP or different NIST guidelines, you've got to follow some framework, right? So embrace those frameworks as well. And I was looking at those frameworks today for ICS SCADA, if you're in the critical infrastructure, and all of them are like, you must do security awareness on the shop floor. Everyone must do it. So I think it's being embraced by regulations, which is good. But you know, Will, I've been out of the space for a little while focusing on something, and I need to get back out to it and learn what's out there. So.
Yeah. There's a whole lot taking place, and absolutely that adversaries like to go for the lowest hanging fruit, and that's what has you doing what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah, but you know, adversaries hit you at home too. It may be easier for me to get you at home, and then I can get into your organization. So you've got to make security awareness part of home too. You got to change culture in both places. So.
I can actually take this one from Morgan. Rich, what is your opinion on NGO video trainings that make small cartoons based on events that have happened? So there are other training platforms out there, right? Like there's NGO, Know Before, Living Security is a new up and comer. They do like virtual escape rooms. Whenever I've looked at them, that's what they do. Now they've built out their program quite a bit more to offer some different stuff. There's not going to be one champion to rule them all. Okay. There's always going to be one that fits just right. Right. And it depends on the culture of your workplace. It depends on what's going to be most relatable for them. I feel that Wizer fits a lot of that broadly, right? So that it's good for everybody, right? It's not going to be specific to one category of human over the other. It fits a wide range, all ages, all creeds, all colors, all the stuff, right? I like Ninjio as well for some of their things, but it does get it feels a little gimmicky to me sometimes that they play up so much how they use professional voice actors for their video content. And last time I looked at it, there were two forms of the video content that you could get from Ninjio. One was very cartoony, and the other one was more anime style. Now, there's environments where that's going to work out really well, right? If you have a specific group of people that answers their thing. What we're saying is this is something that is easy to implement, that is there for the content, for the gamification. It applies to a large age group, right? Some of these, I don't want to get myself in trouble, is what's happening. I'm getting nervous. So look, we partner at SecureNation with all of the training people, all of them. And if there's a new one, we're going to partner with that one too, because we have a broad range of customers that security programs that they have in-house need something specific that fits that tech stack for that program. Okay. I don't prefer Ninja. Personally, that does not mean I'm disparaging them. Okay. That's not what's happening. And I'm getting more nervous as I go.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, right, especially coming from an education institution, is how well do you communicate what you're trying to get across? And some get mired in, like you talked about, Rachel, InfoSec Island. You can't do that. You got to be able to bring it to where everybody can understand what's going on. So now you're in a situation, oh my God, Rich, you're trying to do short little videos, but yet also at times have to teach intricate concepps, because a lot of people may not know what that actually leads to. You know, you can't go, oh, do you know that the certificate of authority is correct? You know, you can't do that.
Exactly.
So that's a big challenge.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you know, when I talk to
there, Will. Thank you. I was going down a line of. I was like, I can't back up from this. And it's
well, I'm glad you took that question, Rachel, because I typically don't hold back, but you know, I don't come across Ninja too often. It's very, very rare. It's I come across KnowBe4 all the time, every day, and rightfully so. A good company. They've been out there for a long time. So
they have.
Yeah.
And they fit, you know, in different. Whenever you're putting together, if you're going to reevaluate your current and existing security awareness program, right? You want to loop in people like your legal team, your HR department, like the IT. If your IT and cybersecurity are two separate things within your company, right? You want to loop in the IT folks. You want to loop in, get lots of opinions to help build out requirements. Check to see if your current program answers and addresses those requirements. Put a wish list together, right, of things that people wish it did instead of what it currently does. If you have zero program, that sucks, but also, right, you also don't have to go back and reevaluate something. You can build it from scratch, which is great. Yeah. Even if you're just starting out, what I like is that because the Wizer content is free, if you're just starting out, or if you're a mom and pop shop, right? And you're like, I don't have to have this, but I see why it's valuable for me to have this. I see why it's important for my employees to be on the lookout for these things and to be more aware of their digital and virtual surroundings, really. Because that's what cybersecurity awareness training is to me. It's about just being aware of your surroundings and your virtual environments the same way that you are in physical space, right? So you can go and sign up on the website for free and have access to all of that, right? And they're not going to track you or spam the crap out of you about buy our platform now, right? Like they're not going to do that. They're just going to let you know when new content comes available. They're going to remind you about, you know, did you want to finish this part of your training that you started, that kind of stuff. And then if your company grows or your needs change and you need to adopt more strategy into your cybersecurity awareness program, they can keep doing that with you. Like you don't have to stop with something you started with and move to something else. They can grow and scale with you, kind of thing. And that's what I like. I like that. It's like cybersecurity awareness training wheels on the tricycle. And then whenever you're ready to get rid of the training wheels and go to the big kid bike, you know what I mean? Like they're there with you still, and it's consistent. And that's what I like about it.
I can take this question if you like. Obviously I should. So,
You should. It should not be me.
yeah. So, the free security awareness, you sign up, you get free, you get a 10-day trial. You can use the whole thing. You want to set up SSO on your one login, your Okta, your Gmail or Azure or Entra, go for it. Break it. See if this works for you. Everything is on for you. That way, if you want to buy in the future, you can. You've already tested it out. And if you want an extension, give me a call. I'll extend that trial for you for your testing. So
Rich, you've done that for me before for other customers. Like I worked with the University of Tulsa.
Yeah.
And we did this over there. And I remember how amazingly kind you were because, right, it was like the CISO over there at the time was like basically a one-man band running around with a chicken without his head and doing an amazing job, by the way. I just got to say, he was great at it. But he needed extensions and extension after extension. Rich, you're a nice guy. Thanks.
Yeah, well, things happen. I've been in his shoes before. Things happen and you don't always have that time. But, try the free. The free isn't going to work for a lot of companies out there right now. I'm going to tell you right now, but it's going to be, if you're a really small company and you want to get your people trained, we'll give you annual training, level 1. Check it out, 18 videos. We just updated it recently. That'll work for you. Try that trial. Now, the next step is Boost. And with Boost, you get everything in our security awareness. There is no gold, diamond, platinum, this, that, add that.
Yeah.
You just get it all. The report button, phishing simulations, unlimited. The whole thing's yours. You get a dedicated customer success manager. And then there's another option for the secure code development training. Not everybody needs that. So that option is there as well. So those are basically what you're looking at with Wizer. But, like I said before, I know I haven't seen too many solutions where I could try the whole thing out. And Wizer lets you do it. And that way, there's no remorse after you purchase. You know exactly what you got into.
Yep. And to me, that's the mark of a good company. That's how I try to do business, is to ensure that there is no buyer's remorse or any remorse from working with me personally as a professional. And I like that whenever my partners go forth and conquer in the same way, right? Where it's like, no, it needs to be done right from the beginning. This isn't something where we're just going to dupe them into accepting an agreement and collecting money. And that's why I say, like, I made a post earlier this week about this session, us talking, and I hashtagged mission before money. And that's, I feel that that's super true in this case. Oh my gosh, we've run up to time. Look at that. Wow, that went fast.
Yeah.
Well, that's precisely the part that I really appreciate with Wizer's approach, is that it is mission before money, because they are that's why folks have access to it at home.
Yeah.
Right. Is that it's trying to save the nation. That's huge. And thank you for that.
Yeah. They're doing a great job. Good job. Good job, Rich.
No, it's the whole team. We've grown. I think we got over 60 people right now.
I know.
So we've grown quick, and it's an amazing ride.
That's incredible. Well, you're going to have to hang out with us after we end this live part. Don't leave yet. And then number 2, it looks like I may need to add you to some conversations later. Number 3, we want to say thank you to our audience. You guys are amazing and magical, and you show up when you can. Even for those that listen to the recordings later on YouTube, this thank you is to you as well. We have this live stream is a passion project for me. It's not something that is sponsored. It is supported by the company that I work for, SecureNation, right? My boss and my leadership allow me to put these things together and to do this during working hours and get to share information or things that I'm passionate about with you guys. So thank you for coming and hanging out and being part of the chat. It's okay if you didn't want to chat, but yeah, thanks. Thanks for all the fish. Thank you, Morgan. Thanks for all the fish. We are going to have another session of the Coffee Table Talks next week on Friday around the same time. That's going to be with Dr. Priscilla. We're going to talk. What are we talking to Dr. Priscilla about? I forgot. That's terrible. I got so enamored by. Oh, infrastructure. We're going to talk about infrastructure. Who doesn't love infrastructure? Come on. Thank you, Meg. Meg's like, infrastructure, Rachel. It's infrastructure. Well, being on the yellow team, no. Tower is definitely powered by the carbon black super. All right, Scott, you and I obviously got to talk later. But ping me to the side, Scott. Anyhow, there's the link to join next week's session. I actually got ahead of the game and made that available for you guys to attend before our session today. Look at me. What? Do I get gold stars or what? And thank you, Will, for always showing up. You're the best.
Class.
All right. You guys have a great weekend. I know Rich has got a busy weekend coming up too. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, you do. And we will see you next week. This is the part where we all manically wave and smile really big.
Take it easy, folks.